Welcome back. The news surrounding the Israel-Hamas war is alarming for many people, especially children. And as parents, many of us may be wondering what's the best way to explain everything to our kids.
Yeah, these conversations can be difficult. Owen sits down with a psychiatrist at UT Health Houston on how to have those difficult conversations with your children, no matter their age.
The headlines detailing the violence in the Israel-Hamas war can cause a heightened sense of stress and anxiety, especially among children. Today, we're joined by Dr. Taiwo Babatope, psychiatrist with UT Health Houston. We're going to talk a little more about this. Dr. Babatope, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Owen.
So I guess the first question I would have for you is there an appropriate age or maybe maturity level when it's okay to start talking with our children about a topic like war?
Thank you so much. That's a fantastic question. I don't think there is an appropriate age. I believe all children deserve communication, and most children can handle difficult conversations as well. I'm always a proponent of parents actually starting those conversations with kids. At the same time, you also want kids to be ready to be able to receive such communication as well.
Mm-hmm. So about, I guess we don't pin it down to a certain age. Do we wait for the child to bring it up? I mean, you say you think parents should start the conversation.
I believe they should be able to start the conversation, but of course it's always a fine line, trying to gauge when the children can actually want to continue that conversation. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just balancing that. And of course, making it age appropriate. You want to discuss words and concepts that the children can actually understand and are appropriate to their developmental level. For younger children, though, you want to, not overload them with too much information, but assure them of safety. You want to talk about the human part of the conversation, like people are hurt, they're scared, they're fighting. Mm-hmm. And so you can also want to talk to them about how they can be helpful to the situation. For older kids, you may want to discuss more complex and difficult circumstances. Mm-hmm. You also want to promote critical thinking, such as, offering them different viewpoints and also discussing more of the impact and the implications of regional stability. For both younger and adult or older kids, mm-hmm. you want to acknowledge their emotions, their reactions, and their fears as well, and let them know that their questions are very important.
Yeah, so I feel like we need to sort of feed off of the energy we're getting from our kids. Because let's be honest, it's going to be hard for at least a certain age group to avoid these pictures if they're on social media at all, right? Yeah. They have to come on the feed at some point.
Of course, and definitely part of ways to support our kids is to limit exposure to violent imagery. Research has shown us that kids that have been in direct exposure to trauma, or they are in direct continuous exposure to continuous violent imagery, these can have long-lasting and profound impacts on their mental health well-being. You also want to encourage the older kids to be able to be skeptical about some of the violent content in social media outlets as well. Regardless of the age of the child, there are three things I would like us to be aware of as parents and caregivers: is to provide honest information and answers, refrain from polarizing or inflammatory comments which can heighten emotions and hinder understanding. And you want to be consistent, you want to be reassuring, but not offer unrealistic promises.
Well, and it can get complicated too, because if we're talking to a younger child, okay, it is about maybe the humanity. They start to get a little older and it becomes more about politics and other things.
Yes.
That can get tough.
I know. So what I would encourage parents to understand is that children need context more than your opinions and political positions.
Context.
Context, historical context, just the facts. Parents need to brush up on that. And it's okay for parents not to also have the right answers, or maybe not have the answers to those questions.
Is it okay to say, I don't know?
Exactly.
I mean, I'll tell you, when my teenagers ask me, it's like, well, where do I begin? Do I begin last decade? Do I begin when Hamas took over power 15, 16 years ago? Do I talk about the days of Yasser Arafat? I mean, I only have a limited history myself. So I feel like the best answer I could give is son, daughter, there are groups of people who have been fighting for a very long time.
Yes.
And we really just hope for the best, and we hope for peace, that they'll find it someday. I feel like it also disconnects us a little bit, and I don't really know to tell them what to do or how to feel.
And I think it's important to acknowledge their emotions, to acknowledge their reactions, and also to tell them it's okay if you don't know how you feel. And for some kids that struggle with these uncomfortable feelings, to help them to express their own emotions in creative ways, such as drawing, pictures, writing poetry, stories related directly to and indirectly to the current state of affairs. I think the goal is support. And it's also vital for parents to be cognizant of their own emotions and reactions to it as well. Children can easily pick up on your emotions, and that can also heighten their own emotional state.
So we risk sort of feeding them maybe more than they need at that point.
Exactly.
Right.
For the younger children, perhaps we limit an overload of that. For the older kids, you also want them to understand the context.
Yeah, and we know our children the best, I think, and whether they can handle certain topics and what we should do. It is complicated, but Doctor, we appreciate you coming in and chatting about it today.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Taiwo Babatope, psychiatrist with UT Health Houston.
And you can find more information online at click2houston.com, including more on these 2 free resources. They're both available to help parents, primary care providers, and teachers to support children with behavioral health concerns during these times. One is called the Child Psychiatry Access Network. The other is Texas Child Access through Telemedicine.